Welcome to my channel. Today we're exploring one of the most fascinating connections in artificial intelligence. What do poker, economics, and AI image generation have in common? On the surface, these seem completely unrelated. Poker is a card game, economics studies markets, and AI image generation creates pictures from nothing. But remarkably, all three are built on the same mathematical foundation called game theory. This single theoretical framework, developed decades ago to analyze competitive situations, became the secret ingredient behind Generative Adversarial Networks, or GANs, one of the most revolutionary AI architectures ever created. In this video, we'll trace the journey from poker tables to AI systems that can generate photorealistic human faces, create artwork in any style, and transform creative industries. By the end, you'll understand not just how GANs work, but why they work, and why the connection to game theory is a literal mathematical equivalence, not just a metaphor. Let's dive in.
So, what exactly is game theory? At its core, game theory is the mathematical study of strategic decision-making. It provides a framework for analyzing situations where your outcome depends not just on your choices, but on the choices others make. Think of it as the science of thinking ahead and anticipating what your opponent might do. Every game has three essential components. First, players, the decision-makers with competing interests. Second, strategies, the available actions each player can choose. And third, payoffs, the outcomes that result from everyone's combined choices. The most famous concept is the Nash equilibrium, named after mathematician John Nash. This is a stable state where no player can improve their outcome by changing their strategy alone. Everyone is playing their best response to everyone else. Understanding these fundamentals is crucial because the entire architecture of generative adversarial networks is built directly on these game-theoretic principles. When you train a GAN, you're essentially searching for a Nash equilibrium between two competing neural networks.
Now let's talk about a special type of game called a zero-sum game. This is central to understanding GANs. In a zero-sum game, one player's gain is exactly equal to another player's loss. Think of it like a balanced seesaw. When one side goes up, the other must come down by exactly the same amount. The total always sums to zero, hence the name. Classic examples include chess and poker. In chess, one player wins and the other loses. There's no scenario where both win. In poker, the money won comes directly from others' losses. The fundamental equation is winner's gain plus loser's loss equals zero. This creates a fascinating dynamic where players have completely opposite objectives. What's good for one is automatically bad for the other. This adversarial relationship is exactly what powers GANs. Two neural networks are locked in a zero-sum game, where the generator's success means the discriminator's failure, and vice versa. The competition forces both networks to continuously improve, creating a powerful learning dynamic. So, how do you play optimally in a zero-sum game? The answer is the Minimax strategy, the most important concept for understanding GAN training. The Minimax strategy says, assume your opponent plays perfectly, then choose the action that minimizes your maximum possible loss. Don't hope for mistakes, prepare for the worst case. You can visualize this with a decision tree. At each node, one player maximizes and the other minimizes. Working backwards from the outcomes, the maximizer picks the highest value branch, the minimizer picks the lowest. This tells you exactly what both players will do if they play optimally. Chess computers use this principle, exploring millions of game states to find the best moves. Here's the key insight for GANs. Optimal play emerges from adversarial dynamics. Both players improve because they're trying to beat each other. The generator minimizes detection, the discriminator maximizes detection accuracy. This competitive pressure drives improvement on both sides, and that's exactly why GANs work so well. Before GANs, researchers faced a fundamental challenge. How do you train a neural network to generate realistic data when there's no ground truth to compare against? In classification, you have labels. In regression, you have target values. But in generation, what's the correct output for random noise? There is no reference image to compute an error against. This is the generative problem. Traditional approaches try matching statistical properties of images, but real images have structure, coherence, and meaning that can't be captured by simple mathematics. Autoencoders learned to reconstruct images, but their outputs were often blurry and lacked detail. The fundamental issue was a broken feedback loop. How do you compute gradients for looks more realistic? The problem seemed almost insoluble. How could a network learn what makes an image real without being explicitly told? The answer, as we're about to see, came from an unexpected direction: game theory. Instead of defining realism mathematically, train another network to figure that out for us.
In 2014, Goodfellow had a breakthrough that changed artificial intelligence forever. The story goes that after a bar discussion about generative models, Goodfellow went home and implemented his idea in a single night. His insight was brilliantly simple. What if we used game theory? Instead of defining what makes an image realistic, train a second neural network to figure that out. The solution was two competing networks: a generator that creates fake images from random noise, and a discriminator that examines images to determine if they're real or fake. These networks are locked in an adversarial game. The generator tries to fool the discriminator, while the discriminator tries to catch fakes. Each pushes the other to improve. Goodfellow called his invention Generative Adversarial Networks. They're generative because they create new data, and adversarial because two networks compete against each other. This was a paradigm shift. Competition between components became a powerful learning signal. The paper was published at NIPS 2014 and has become one of the most influential in deep learning history.
Let's dive into the generator network. Think of it as the counterfeiter in our game. The generator takes random noise as input, typically sampled from a normal distribution, and transforms it into a fake image. This noise vector acts like a seed. Different random values produce different images. The remarkable thing is the generator learns to map random numbers to meaningful structure. The generator uses a series of transposed convolutions to gradually build up the image. Starting from the noise vector, it progressively upsamples and adds detail at each layer. Early layers establish shapes, middle layers add textures, and final layers refine fine details. In early training, the output is garbage, random noise that looks nothing like real images. But as training progresses, it learns to produce increasingly convincing results. The generator's ultimate goal is to create images so realistic that the discriminator outputs a probability of 0.5, meaning it literally cannot tell real from fake. When this happens, the generator has learned the distribution of real images without ever being told what realistic means. Now let's look at the discriminator. If the generator is the counterfeiter, the discriminator is the detective trying to catch fakes. Its job is to examine images and output a probability indicating whether each one is real or fake. It receives images from two sources: real images from the training data set and fake images from the generator. The discriminator is a convolutional neural network that compresses images into feature vectors and outputs a value between 0 and 1. It learns to spot subtle patterns that distinguish real from fake, maybe unrealistic skin textures, unnatural hair, or inconsistent lighting. Early in training, this is easy since the generator produces obvious garbage, but it must become increasingly sophisticated as the generator improves. Here's where the magic happens. The discriminator's feedback becomes the training signal for the generator. When it catches a fake, that information propagates backwards through the generator via backpropagation. The gradients tell the generator exactly how to adjust to produce more convincing images next time. This creates a powerful closed-loop learning system. Now we can see the direct connection to game theory. The GAN training objective is literally a Minimax game. The value function has two terms. One measures how well the discriminator identifies real images, the other measures how well it catches fakes. The discriminator wants to maximize both terms, correctly labeling real as real and fake as fake. But the generator has the exact opposite objective. It wants the discriminator to think its fakes are real, which would make the second term very negative. So the generator minimizes what the discriminator maximizes, exactly the Minimax structure we discussed. It's like a tug of war where both players pull on opposite ends of the same rope. At the theoretical optimum, the system reaches a Nash equilibrium, where the discriminator outputs exactly 0.5 for every image. It literally cannot tell real from fake. The generator has learned to produce indistinguishable images, and the discriminator has converged to its optimal strategy. This game-theoretic framework is why GANs work so well.
Let's visualize how GAN training unfolds. It's like watching an evolutionary arms race. At Epoch 1, the generator outputs pure garbage, and the discriminator catches fakes with 100% accuracy. By Epoch 100, the generator produces basic shapes, and the discriminator must look for more subtle flaws. By Epoch 500, generated images become recognizable. You can make out face-like structures with eyes, nose, and mouth. The discriminator has become sophisticated, picking up on the subtle details that still look wrong. After 1,000 epochs, results can be stunning. Faces nearly indistinguishable from real photographs, with realistic textures, proper lighting, and natural details. This illustrates the beautiful paradox of adversarial training. Competition breeds excellence. Each network's improvement is driven by the others. If the discriminator improves, the generator must follow or get caught. If the generator improves, the discriminator must sharpen its detection. Neither could reach these heights alone. They need each other as worthy opponents.
The impact of GANs extends far beyond research papers. They've revolutionized multiple industries. StyleGAN generates photorealistic human faces that don't exist. Style Transfer transforms photos into different artistic styles. Image inpainting fills in missing or damaged parts of images. Super resolution enhances low-quality images to high definition. Medical imaging uses GANs to generate synthetic training data for rare conditions. Looking at the numbers, the impact is staggering. Since 2014, over 100,000 research papers have cited the original GAN work. The cumulative industry impact runs into billions of dollars across entertainment, healthcare, and creative industries. GANs have been applied to face generation, video synthesis, drug discovery, and countless other applications. But perhaps most importantly, GANs laid the intellectual foundation for modern generative AI. Systems like DALL-E, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion build on ideas that GANs pioneered. The revolutionary concept that AI can create, not just classify, traces directly back to Goodfellow's 2014 breakthrough.
And there we have it, the complete journey from poker tables to AI image generation. We started with game theory, the science of strategic decision-making. We explored zero-sum games, where one player's gain equals another's loss, and the Minimax strategy for optimal play. Ian Goodfellow applied these principles in 2014, creating GANs by framing image generation as a game between generator and discriminator. Here are the 3 key takeaways. First, adversarial dynamics create powerful learning signals. Competition between networks provides supervision without labeled data. Second, the Minimax framework is the mathematical core of GAN training. The generator minimizes what the discriminator maximizes. Third, GANs pioneered AI creativity, laying the groundwork for the generative AI revolution we're experiencing today with DALL-E, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion.
The next time you see an AI-generated image, remember, it all traces back to game theory. If you learned something new today, please like and subscribe for more AI engineering content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.